Chapter 23. Shadow crawled into the room slowly, belly low, ears pinned back. The moment he saw Sky, his tail thumped once, then again, and he hurried the rest of the way to her. "Shadow, mute," Sky whispered. He obeyed instantly, pressing his head into her chest. She checked him over with shaking hands. He winced once when she touched his ribs, but he was alive. He licked her face, grounding her. Outside, the building echoed with shouts, running footsteps, and the distant cries of terrified people. Sky guided Shadow under the desk and pulled the shade down. She positioned herself in the corner, slumped low, making the room look like chaos had erupted between Hector and the guard. She placed the empty needle in the dead guard's hand, hoping it would look convincing. Her breath trembled. And somewhere across the school, Ernie's breath would have hitched the same way, the kind of instinctive echo he couldn't control. Then the explosion hit. The entire building shook. Dust rained from the ceiling. Screams erupted from the cafeteria. Sky's heart leapt. Ernie. Fred. They're here. Her pulse steadied, not because she felt safe, but because she felt him. Even without seeing him, her body synced to the rhythm she knew, Ernie moving fast, Ernie clearing rooms, Ernie coming for her. She forced herself to stay limp, still, waiting. Jack burst into the room, panting. "Hector. We're under attack." He scanned the scene, Hector motionless on the bed, the guard dead on the floor, Sky slumped against the wall, bruised and bloodied. "What the hell happened?" he snarled. He stepped toward Sky, eyes narrowing with a new, ugly intention now that Hector was gone. He reached for her. A sharp pop cracked through the room. Jack staggered, eyes wide, then collapsed face first onto the floor. Ernie stood in the doorway, gun raised, chest heaving. And Sky felt it, the way his breath synced with hers the moment their eyes met. Her body recognized him before her mind did. She shot upright. "Ernie, watch out." The last three men charged in behind him. Sky's hand flew to her throwing knife. She hurled it at the first man, hitting him in the abdomen. Shadow exploded from under the desk, slamming into the wounded man and dragging him down. Ernie fired twice, dropping the remaining two, his shots timed perfectly with Sky's movements, as if they'd rehearsed this 1,000 times. Silence fell. Shadow trotted back to Sky, tail low, leaning against her leg. Ernie's eyes swept over her, the bruises, the blood, the trembling. His jaw tightened in the same place hers hurt. "Are you okay?" he asked, voice low, rough. Sky didn't answer. She threw herself into him, sobbing so hard her whole body shook. Ernie wrapped his arms around her and held her tight, one hand on the back of her head, the other around her shoulders. Her breathing stuttered, his matched it. Her shaking slowed, his body steadied hers. Her fear spilled out, his chest tightened with every sob. When she could breathe again, they made their way to the cafeteria. Sky wiped her face with a towel and immediately offered to help anyone who needed it. The people were bruised, exhausted, hollow-eyed. Rachel looked up, and froze when she saw Joe. "We don't want him here," she said, voice shaking with fury. "But I brought help," Joe stammered. "If you hadn't let them out in the first place, none of this would have happened," Rachel snapped. "You brought them here. Then you ran. You left us." Joe stepped toward her, hand raised. Fred was there instantly, blocking him. "You heard her. Take your family and go." Joe looked around. Every face in the room was turned toward him with contempt. He backed away. His family was already outside with Letty. Fred followed to make sure he didn't try anything. A few minutes later, Fred and Letty returned. "They took one of the cars," Fred said. "Doubt they'll come back." Sky stepped forward. "This place isn't safe anymore. Do you have somewhere else we can take you? Somewhere Joe won't think to look?" Rachel looked around at the broken people. "This place, it holds too many memories. We should move on." Ernie stood behind Sky, posture mirroring hers, shoulders tense, jaw set, eyes scanning the room the same way she did. Their stances matched without effort. He explained the group they'd met earlier and asked if there was anywhere secure nearby. Rachel thought for a long moment. The governor's mansion. It's miles out of town. 10-foot stone wall. Solar panels. Guest house. It's big. And safe. Can you help us get there? She asked quietly. And clear it out? They all agreed. Fred and Ernie went to search for vehicles. Sky organized the survivors, having them gather food, supplies, and anything useful into boxes. Rachel, Sky, and another woman began clearing rooms. Sky opened one door, and froze. A small child lay on the bed. Still. Silent. Sky's breath caught, and somewhere outside, Ernie's chest tightened at the same moment, an instinctive echo of her shock. She didn't need details to understand what had happened. The room told its own story. The air felt wrong. Heavy. Violated. A place where fear had lived. Sky swallowed hard, forcing herself to move. She found a clean blanket in the corner. She spread it gently beside the child, then lifted the small body with trembling arms. Tears streamed down her bruised face as she wrapped the child carefully, tenderly, as if she might wake. Sky? Are you okay in there? Rachel called. Sky's voice cracked. Could you open the door? Rachel rushed over. When she saw the blanket-wrapped bundle in Sky's arms, she gasped, hand flying to her mouth. Sky stepped into the hallway. The others stopped what they were doing. Silence fell. Tears welled. Heads bowed. They followed her in a quiet procession toward the cafeteria. The child's mother looked up, hope flickering for a split second, then saw the blanket. Her scream tore through the room. She collapsed, wailing, clutching the small bundle as if she could pull her child back into the world by sheer force of love. Ernie ran in at the sound. He stopped cold when he saw Sky standing there, tears streaking her face. Their eyes met, and his breath synced with hers again, both of them frozen in the same grief. Fred and Ernie had found 2 buses. We need to move, Ernie said softly. The noise brought the dead. Sky gently placed the child in her mother's arms. The woman rocked her, sobbing quietly. Rachel guided her onto the bus. No one tried to take the child from her. They all knew she needed to carry her daughter to a place where she could bury her properly. They loaded the buses in silence. A horde was gathering down the street, but they pulled away quickly, taking turns to lose the dead before heading toward the mansion. The drive was long, nearly 90 minutes. Sky didn't speak. Shadow rested his head in her lap, and she stroked his ears with a distant, hollow gentleness. Ernie drove behind her bus, eyes flicking to her silhouette through the windshield whenever he could. His posture matched hers, hunched, quiet, hurting. When they reached the mansion, the buses pulled aside to let Ernie and Fred lead. The stone wall stretched high and wide, enclosing acres of land. The steel gate was closed but not latched. Ernie opened it and waved them through. He glanced back at Sky through the windshield, worry etched into his face. Sky whispered, "Shadow, free." But the dog didn't move. He stayed pressed against her leg. She closed her eyes. Her face throbbed. Her heart felt bruised. She knew Ernie was worried, and she knew she needed to learn how to protect herself better. She never wanted to be that vulnerable again. Inside, Ernie, Fred, Letty, and several armed women cleared the mansion. It was empty. And it was perfect. Solar panels. Water catchment. Purification systems. A basement stocked with food, water, weapons, and supplies, enough for 100 people. The governor had prepared for the end of the world. And now, finally, these people had a chance to start again.